It is time for U.S. corporate giants to bare their souls here. This has long been the moral argument of corporate social responsibility, advocating, urging influential business to support social and political causes, but now it's just a matter of profits and losses. Most companies would rather leave their political and social preferences a mystery, and they want to appeal to as many customers as fucking possible on both sides of the aisle. But new research from the Ipsos shows that more than half of American consumers shop with their political or social values in mind, a sign that even the most boundary crossing companies will not be spared from America's political polarization. In a nationally representative survey of American adults that was taken this summer, over half over half of the people said that they often do at least one of the following: one, choose to support businesses because they agree with its political and social values, or two, choose not to support businesses because they disagree with the values, or three, talk to other people about the political and social values of that particular business. Um, Within this group of Americans, 1 in 8 regularly take all three actions, and they don't make compromises. We call this more values-driven group called partisan consumers. Um, the consumers like to politicize their favorite brands of like food. The partisan consumers exist in both equal numbers across both parties, but Democrats are significantly more likely to want and expect their favorite brands to take a stand on issues that they care most about, and these issues generally correspond to those championed by the far-leaning left Americans, like climate change, racial justice, and public health. The repugs disproportionately prefer that business stay out of politics altogether, and this becomes less surprising when considering that a plurality of repugs perceive brands that champion social issues as tending to lean more democratic than the conservative these days. Yet, partisan consumers matter. Not only are there tens of millions of them, they also tend to be more educated and therefore have greater spending power. The target demographic for many brands. Some smaller niche brands have long appealed to more partisan demographics by selling their values alongside their products. Think of the Ben and Jerry's ice cream, which has always linked its branding and flavors to the democratic-leaning political activism Hubby Hubby, and the hippie culture, Cherry Garcia, and fish food. Similarly, the benefit corporations are driven by the values, even if it means upsetting their consumer base. Now think of Patagonia, once the unofficial vest maker for Wall Street and Silicon Valley suits. Um, the environmentalist outdoor company stopped selling clothing with customized logos to limit the corporate branded clothes getting tossed when the people changed their jobs. Um, Other companies have stepped more directly into the partisan fray. For instance, some retailers recently pulled the MyPillow products from their shelves after the company's CEO crackhead Mike Lindell publicly backed the former squatter Donald Trump's false claims of election fraud. Expect more of this to come. Increasingly, companies otherwise disinterested in politics have been pressured into taking stands for demonstrating their values by consumers organized via the social media or by their own employees and partners. Now think of the Delta and Coca-Cola and the repudiation of Georgia's voter suppression legislation in the wake of the 2020 election. The party affinity no longer only drives public policy and political preferences today; it also determines the brand favorability. Um, Now this leaves brands with a catch-22. On the one hand, they're facing pressure to align themselves with the broader social and often democratic value. On the other hand, they must also contend with the more conservative consumer base that might be disaffected by that very same messaging. Now, which companies are most likely affected by America's partisan divide? Um, um, now, among 30 of the biggest brands in the U.S. market, Costco, Visa, Netflix, and Home Depot have all achieved the highest favorability scores across all America, including among the partisan consumers. Though this is particularly impressive for Home Depot and Netflix, whose consumers are disproportionately Republican and Democratic, respectively. Other top brands and companies' consumer markets are more tilted. Democrats disproportionately favor and consume Apple, Google, HBO, Starbucks, while the Republicans disproportionately favor and consume products from the beer maker in Anheuser-Busch, Ford, Home Depot, and Walmart. And these discrepancies are widened among the partisan consumers. The brands that suffer the steepest drops in favorability among partisan consumers who shop with their social and political values in mind compared with Americans on average are Walmart, which is a 42% discrepancy in favorability, Amazon with a 40%, and Nestle with 36%, Microsoft with a 34%, and Walt Disney with a 31%. These companies do much better among the consumers that are less concerned with the brand of politics. Now, of course, the partisan tilt of a brand's consumer base should not be conflated with the brand's expressed politics. Now, Google has long been in the crosshairs of antitrust Democratic political officials, but Walmart has acted quickly on recent public health recommendations despite the Republican objections. As culture wars have made American politics increasingly a matter of a lifestyle, it's inevitable that our political choices would eventually map onto our consumer choices. This trend is now sucking businesses and brands into a vortex. Now, while picking a side, whether red or blue or purple, it may limit their market reach. Companies also must consider what causes they value and are willing to champion. If they don't, brands risk losing their appeal in our politicized world. Now, if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out, and thanks for listening.